Hello and welcome to Get Yourself Optimized. I'm your host, Stephan Spencer, and today it's my pleasure to have Barry Shore with us. Barry is the ambassador of joy. He was completely paralyzed overnight from a rare disease, and yet he went on to build a system to enable people to live in joy daily. His 11 strategies are being embraced globally. And Barry, it's so great to have you on the show.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved immortal beings, and good-looking people. Now, Stefan, how can I make the categorical statement that all the thousands and tens of thousands of people that'll be watching this show are all good-looking? Because by definition, if they tuned in to Get Yourself Optimized, they're always looking for and finding the good. That's a good-looking person, someone who's always looking for and finding the good in life.
That's awesome. So why do you sing so much? I've heard you give presentations before, and even just showing up on masterminds when it's your turn to chime in. You actually are oftentimes singing. What is it about that?
Well, you just said the word chime. A chime is, or chimes are things that sound good. And the genius of the human experience is that when we animate our speech, we call that singing. But it's far more interesting to listen to than just someone giving over data and information. That's computer like. Now, by the way, I sing often, oftentimes on key, sometimes not. But it allows me to be more animated, which enables me to connect with people. That's really my purpose in life, is to be connecting with people and become what I urge people to do, is to become a conduit of good, what I call a cog. People think of a cog as just some small piece in a big machine. But when you recognize that you are the essential element in the universe, you become a conduit of goodness and a child of God. So that's one of the reasons I sing, because it's a form of praise, and I love
Yes,
people.
yes, and music is it is a way to connect with God.
Absolutely, it is an experience.
So I would love for you to share with our listener your origin story. How did you end up uh, paralyzed? How did you end up with this rare disease? And how did you transform your life through that? And also, what was the gift?
Whew, that's a three, four, five-part question. We'll break it apart and unpack and share with everybody. So and by the way, again, thank you so much, Stefan, for having me on the show. I'm deeply touched, honored, and humbled, because you are a person that brings out the best in others. And that's really what your goal is, to get yourself optimized. Because otherwise, why are you here? By the way, when I speak at groups, and just recently, thank God, because we're not doing the masquerade anymore, hundreds and hundreds of people just yesterday. And my first opening question was to everybody, who here wants to be mediocre? Now, can you imagine? Not one hand went up. We don't want to be mediocre. We're here to be optimized. We're here to grow. So whenever I speak with people, I mention that I work with what's called the three fundamentals of life. Three fundamentals are: number one, life has purpose. You lead a purpose driven life. Number two happens. Now, in this case, a good number two, and you go mad. And MAD stands for make a difference. So if you lead a purpose driven life, you go mad, you make a difference in the world. And the third is to unlock and uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. As an example, right now, this beautiful episode that we're doing together is carried over the internet. If you ask anybody, what does WWW stand for? Invariably, it has to do with the internet, right? But in our world, Stefan, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, WWW stands for what a wonderful world. And what a is a word, right? And of course, that song, What a Wonderful World, by Louis Armstrong, Satchmo, has gone viral and not just touched tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet. And whenever you hear the opening bars, what can you do? You smile. You can't help it. And for
Mm,
me, smile is the operative word in my life. So imagine the following: standing up in the morning, hale and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. And that night, being in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed, not an automobile accident, not a spinal injury, a rare disease which I never heard of the day before and I couldn't spell, took over my body and rendered me a quadriplegic. Now,
Mhm.
quadriplegic means nothing in the body moved. All I could do was blink my eyes. I was 144 days in the hospital. I was in a hospital bed in my own home for 2 years. I couldn't turn over by myself. 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs, my hips to my ankles. That was progress. Thank God today, Stephan, I am able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a triped, not a biped. I still can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. And I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, all because of one word. That word is smile. Smile? Yes, because smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Seeing miracles in life every day. As I mentioned, when I speak to groups and I tell the story of Barry Shore and I use smile, right away people raise their hand and say, "Hey, Barry Shore, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours where I'm seeing me miracles." And I ask them, "Are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I could barely do that. Do you have water to drink, food to eat, a place to sleep, family, friends?" Every single one of those is a miracle. And the simplest proof, simple proof, 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're watching, you're listening, you didn't. So you have an obligation to live life exuberantly and to live it with purpose and to go mad, make a difference. I got to tell you one
Mhm.
quick story. Just realized my 8-year-old niece came over to me a few weeks ago and she says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile Smiel? I thought about it. Smiles sounds the same. Why not? I asked her, how come? She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. An 8-year-old out of the mouth of babes. And what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. Now, CREATE is a wonderful acronym that stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Because rethinking is the key to life, isn't it, Stefan? I mean, this is part of what we do. We are evolving all the time. You're not the same person you were a week ago or a month ago or a year ago, in the sense that, first of all your biology has changed. We know that, your cells and things like that. But by definition, our thinking is expanding. We want to be able to be more conscious, more alive, more optimized in everything we do, right? And that's called, for us, neuro linguistic programming, NLP. But really, what it boils down to is this 6 words, these 6 words, the most important 6 words you could ever utilize, internalize, and leverage in your life. And they are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you respond to any situation determines what's going to happen with your life. And for me, I was a quad. Now, I still can't get up from this chair. So basically, from the waist down, I'm still what they call a paraplegic, but I can move and I can, with help, I walk and I swim, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So that's a long route to get to the point of overnight, paralyzed. Now, what do you do with your life? And there's a lot of benefits that came out of it, which I would not have checked off on the menu, but the good Lord says, Mr. Shore, I need your attention. Here's what I'm going to give you. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah. Do you think that you, or do you feel that you opted in for this before you incarnated? You're like, okay, God, you want me to uh, be paralyzed and to gain some great lessons and share those lessons with the world by doing this. Okay, I'm in.
So I don't want to be glib and say, "Oh yeah," no, it's a challenge and a struggle. But I will tell you a story that made a difference for me. I was in the hospital about 3 weeks in. Now again, just I'm protoplasm. They pick me up, move me around, do things with me, and try to find out more about what's going on. And I had this one nurse, a male nurse, interesting, and he'd been with me already 3 days, and he's wheeling me back to the room. I remember my eyes could see out the windows. It was sort of coming dusk, And he stopped the gurney and he leaned down and he asked me a question. He said, "Mr. Shore, can I ask you a question?" Now, again, by the way, in addition to being paralyzed, I could barely speak above a whisper. It's very hard to talk. But I said, "Yes." So he looks at me and says, "This is my specialty. I work with people who are paralyzed. I've never met anybody who's not bitter and angry. How come you're not bitter and angry?" And I realized what he was doing. He was asking me the great existential question, which is, why me, God? Why did you do this to me? But it's not what I was asking. I was asking, I'm a regular guy. What am I supposed to do? What do you want? And I can tell you something, Stephan. At that moment, 55 years on the planet, a calm came over me that I had never experienced before. I had no idea if I ever move again, walk again, swim, or anything, but I was completely calm and accepting. And I think that goes to your question. So the good Lord said, "Hey, sure, I need your attention for a while. You're just going to be here." I was in.
Amazing. And what do you see as your next big breakthrough, or the next step in the ladder of ascension or of elevation for you?
So first of all, I'm going to tell you, I laugh when I say this because you remember I was 55 when I entered into paralysis, the next stage of the rocket as it's getting up into the stratosphere and such. I can't climb up a ladder. So if everybody listening, things that we do on a regular basis, taking a step up a ladder is such a common ability for people. So I now swim, and we'll talk about that in a little more depth in just a bit. But I now swim regularly, and in order to get in the pool and out of the pool, this particular one I go to doesn't have stairs going in. It's an Olympic pool, and it's quite remarkable and beautiful. But there are ladders going in for people on the side of the pool. Well, I can't use those. I have to use a special machine called a Hoyer lift to get me into the pool and out of the pool. So thank God we have these things, but otherwise I can't get in and out. So what people use, 99.999% of everybody comes in and out of a ladder. You can't do that. So you answer your question about the ladder. So my growth through this process of feeling like the cocoon and now the chrysalis is that these years that I was in the hospital bed in my own home, not being able to turn over at all and being able to just visualize. So for me, my visualization on a daily basis and affirmation was the ability to sit up and put my feet over the side of the bed. That was my goal. It took me 2 years to do it. I did it. And it was a lot of work because I had therapists coming 3, 4 times a week and many other things to help prod me along the way and such like that. But the real true benefit came, that was the physical, is that I was able to utilize the time to think about, meditate upon, and produce what we call the 11 strategies for learning how to live in joy daily, which is, of course, the title of my book. My book is called The Joy of Living, How to Slay Stress and Be Happy. So I recognize that stress, Stephan, is the biggest killer in the United States and even the world. All the other things are symptoms, such as sleeplessness, gastrointestinal issues, heart failures. Almost everything comes back to the root of stress. And I'd like to talk about it a little more when we can. But for now, what has happened for me is that the next levels on the ladder or the staircase or the ramp for me to move up and forward is to make sure that people know about the book, The Joy of Living, How to Slay Stress and Be Happy. And subtitle from paralyzed to long distance swimmer. I'm now swimming around the world. We'll talk about that in depth. But my goal as a mental health activist is to work with people to learn how to reduce, mitigate, maybe even eliminate stress, and learn how to use it to advantage. That's something wonderful. That's my purpose now and my mission.
Mm, amazing. So you mentioned that you're swimming around the world, and what do you? Please
What
elaborate
does
on
that
that. What does
mean?
that mean?
What the heck does that mean, Barry Shore, swimming around the world? So, great story. When I was brought home from the hospital, lived in this beautiful place in Venice Beach, California, and we were there for 45 years. We just moved from there recently because California is California and stuff happening. And we moved to a wonderful community called Henderson, Nevada, which one of the reasons we're here is because it has great aquatic facilities and such. But suffice to say, when I came home, um, my attendants took me out in a wheelchair for some fresh air one day, and one of my neighbors comes over and says, I know what happened. I'm here to tell you, I'm going to have you up and out of the wheelchair and walking within a year. Great. Now remember, I'm still paralyzed. And I love the guy. His name is Vince. And he tells me he's the best aquatic therapist in America. So I believe him. Why not? If somebody's going to tell you, I'm going to have you walking. So aquatic therapy is what really made a difference in my life. And I just said, let's do it, whatever you need to do. So we were able to get to pools where they had these special lifts, getting me from the wheelchair into lift, into water, and he had people working on me. And I'll make the story somewhat shorter, but over the course of many months, putting flotation devices on my arms and on my tummy and on my legs so I don't sink and drown. He had his people moving my limbs, and so I tried to get some movement back if possible. The legs not, but some of the upper body was. And after almost a year, one day I was able to move my arms over my head, my right and then my left, and I was moving. I was actually doing a backstroke in the pool. And after a few strokes, I hit my head on the side of the pool and I said, wow, that's wonderful. And then I turned and I moved to the next. I went back and forth in the pool. Stephan, that day was November 18th. It was about a year and a half after I became paralyzed. I swam a mile, 98 minutes nonstop on my back out in the pool, and I was just in heaven because remember I'm the guy who can't move now. I can't. My legs barely did something, but they had flotation device so it wouldn't sink and around me. But I'm in the pool moving. I swam a mile. So I said to myself, "Hey, if I could," by the way, people were applauding. It was great. If I could swim a mile once, I could do it again. So I did it twice a week, then 3 times a week. And then over the course of another year or so, I was able to turn on my tummy and swim with flotation devices still on my legs, not on my arms anymore, or my belly. But I wear paddles because when you see my hands don't close because of everything. It looks like arthritis, but it's not. But my fingers don't close. I use a snorkel because it's too hard for my neck to move breathing. But I now swim 2 miles a day, 6 days a week. I've been doing that for more than a dozen years. Now I swim 2 miles in 100 minutes, and I have over 8,473 miles as of today. So I'm over a third of the way around the world, and my goal is to swim around the world. Now, at my age, because I'm 73 chronologically, I'm going to have to be 109 before it happens. But I'm like you. We like to optimize ourselves, and one of the way you optimize yourself is you leverage. Right, the genius of business is leveraging what we call other people's networks. So my big goal is because I'm in mental health activism, is to attract Michael Phelps. So if you're listening to this, we were already trying to contact him to attract Michael Phelps, who says, Barry Shore, I love your story because he already knows about it. And he'll swim 2 miles a day. I'll swim 2 miles a day. We'll add them up. And together we'll do 1,000 miles a year. And people will say, I'm in for 2 cents, 2 cents a mile. So it's $20 a year. But with Michael Phelps' notoriety, more so than Barry Shore, I think we'll have 100,000, 200,000, maybe a million people contributing $20 a year. So we'll raise tens of millions of dollars for mental health activism, which is called Stop the Stigma. The stigma of mental health, of not recognizing that people have issues. Stress is the main one. Anxiety, depression, fear, worry, they're all part and parcel of that thing. But to recognize it, admit it, right now, Stephan, as you know, probably better than most anybody, because you're very sensitive to what's going on in the world and understanding, because of the lockdown and because of the fear in the world, suicide rates, especially amongst teenagers, have increased dramatically. Amongst regular adults, also, the depression levels are increasing. And the reality is that help is available. You hear this? Help is available. It's like a 12-step program. If you ever know anything about a 12-step program, I work with addictive personalities for years. I am an addictive personality. It happens to be on the positive level. You know, I swim 2 miles a day, 6 days a week. I'm addicted. But in the 12-step program, the first step is 50% of the way to the goal, right? You know this. And the genius of that is the same thing in mental health, admitting, recognizing, reaching out, you're halfway there. That's wonderful. So I'm swimming around the world. We want to attract Michael Phelps, and then we'll attract a few other celebrity swimmers who will contribute a mile or two a day. And together we'll, because of swimming around the world, almost 25,000 miles, 24,913 miles. Okay, we can do it in a few years and raise tens of millions of dollars. Isn't that wonderful? How
I
great
love
is
your
that? What a mission,
yeah.
what a purpose, what a life.
I love your enthusiasm and your dreaming big. That's awesome. And so
Well,
if if you had, like, I wave my magic wand, right? And you have tens of millions of dollars already in your hands, what do you do with it?
the first step of 3 steps, what I would do is to utilize all of the genius of the people that I know, Stephan amongst them, to leverage what we do in our world on what's called social media to attract, not pursue, but attract the most recognizable, the most dedicated, the most giving people on the planet. And we'll start with a person like a Michael Phelps, Simon Bollet, the gymnast, um, a person, let's say, or Sir Richard Branson, and people of that caliber, to bring out the realities of life and say, hello, I know what stress is. I did it. And I'm urging everybody, get in touch with yourself. Because here's a great idea, 3-letter word with the middle letter of O. Now, people might think I'm going to God. The word is joy, because joy stands for Journey of You. See, it's interesting. This show is not about Barry Shore, nice guy that he is. It's not about Stephan Spencer, great guy that he is. This show is only about one person, you. You, the one's listening, the one who's watching. It's about you. You becoming the best you, because when you're the best you make the world a better place. You build bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. And the genius of today, Stephan, step 2, is that we attract these great personalities who want to help. People do want to help. And it's now global. See, the genius of today is that because there is no geography, because time and space don't exist anymore in reality, because it's all online, as it were, we can really touch people everywhere. So stage 1 is creating the modality. Remember, create, causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Number 2 is attracting the people who others will be attracted to. As I say, that celebrity is the spark that ignites the masses. You like that?
Hmm.
Celebrity is the spark that ignites the masses. And number 3 is that it becomes, you ready for this? Fun. it becomes fun to say, I'm working on myself. I love it. I love teaching people, by the way. I use a lot of four-letter words. Now, the four-letter words that I use, of course, because we live in the world of positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, free, gift, which we have. We have a free gift for everybody. Pray, play, swim. I even use the four-letter FU word because it's fun and I like the shock value of it. Now, the four-letter FU word that we use is fun. Now, people listening, raise their hand and say, hey, Barry Shore, fun's only spelled with three letters. Not in our world. The world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Fun is spelled F-U, capital N, capital N. So after this show and you see your family or friends, I want you to point your finger, have a smile on your face. Remember, that stands for seeing miracles in life every day, twinkle in your eye, and tell everybody, F-U. But remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. They say, where'd you get that? I said, well, I listened to Stephan, and he has, in his show Optimized, he has this guy named Barry Shore. He wants to teach the world to F you. Capital N, capital N. You do that, now you've broken the ice. You create the potential for a conversation. And a conversation can lead to understanding. And understanding leads to the genius of community, because we are a community. And the word community is very interesting because the U comes before the I. When we all recognize that the you comes before the I, we become all givers. And that's the joy of living. I found out after years of paralysis and meditation and research and learning, the joy of living can be summed up in one word: giving. Giving. So that's what I would do with my hundreds of millions. Create the
Yeah, why stop
modality,
there?
attract the people, and make sure that it's out there touching and going viral. And people say, yes, F you, capital N, capital N.
What are the two? What do the two N's stand for?
The two N's,
Yeah. So capital N, capital N.
never
What are the?
ending nurturing.
Okay.
Never ending nurturing.
Got
Because
it.
that's what we're about, isn't it? I mean, who is Stephan Spencer? He's a nurturer. Yes, he does things in business and makes things happen and he has magic. He knows what to do. But that's what he is. He's a nurturer. Am I correct?
Yes.
That's what we love doing. When you optimize yourself, you become a giver. I'd like to share with you, if I may, two things. May I do that? Three
Of
practical
course.
tips and tools. By the way, I didn't even have a chance yet to talk about stress and my acronym for stress. Maybe we'll do that first, okay?
Sure.
Okay, let's talk about stress because, first of all, stress wasn't just a product of the lockdown or the pandemic or the panic. Stress is the most searched word in the internet after COVID and all that other stuff because it's always here. Stress comes in three places. It comes from money, too much or the lack of, right? Relationships with other people, and the most important relationship with oneself, and health. So, money, relationships, and health. Either yourself, something that's going on, or somebody very close to you. That's where stress comes from. Stress is an amazing acronym, Stephan. It stands for stomach turning reality, enabling self sabotage. Ah! Do you know what happened? Uh, I might have lost my job. We're going to may lose a house. My cousin committed suicide. The kids are going crazy, not to school. The country's falling apart. Now, if people don't do it on the outside, they're doing it on the inside. That's stress. They're internalizing it, which is even worse, right? At least if you know how to release it, you can do. I can show people how to use it to advantage. That's part of why we built the Joy of Living community, which I urge everybody to join. The Joy of Living community. Stephan will post it somewhere, and you can
Yep.
see it,
In the
or
show
just go to
notes.
barryshore.com. Uh, so that's stomach turning out, enabling self sabotage. What we share with people, and share stands for spreading happiness and rejuvenating energy. We share and teach people. Stress stands for, write this down, stomach turning reality, enabling self-success. Yes, you did lose your job. You may lose the house. Your cousin did commit suicide. The kids are going crazy. The country's falling apart. Okay, how you respond in any given situation will help determine, are you optimizing yourself or not? How do you respond? Not react. How do you respond? Using the mind. So you want to be a spiritual chiropractor, I call it. You go to the chiropractor, you're sort of physically out, and all of a sudden they go, wow, you're aligned. You can carry yourself easier. Same thing here, spiritual chiropractor. You want to align your thoughts, your words, and your deeds so you're flowing. You're a channel of goodness, a child of God. And then what happens? You can grow. That's self-success. Yes, there's always
Yeah.
going to
That
be stuff.
reminds me of, I learned this from Kabbalah that there's a term, I will pronounce it incorrectly, I'm sure, but Hokdemetzach, and it refers to the ability to receive messages. When your thoughts, words, and deeds are all pure,
Yes.
in alignment with purity, it turns the dial up to 10 in terms of your ability to receive messages from the other side of the veil, from the creator, from his angels, from
Even other humans.
the guides.
Right.
Yeah,
So
from like it's like you pop your head up above the clouds, and then all the others who have popped their heads up over the above the clouds can see you, and then you just get all approached by all these amazing, wonderful people who have worked on themselves, and all these amazing synchronicities happen too. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this concept of the ability to receive messages. I'd love to hear if you've had any experiences where you've actually heard the voice of God, for example. If you wanted to share any kinds of without a doubt signs that you received from the Creator, from your angels or guides, and yeah, just what sort of amazing mystical experiences you've received in that way.
Stefan, you told me before we began recording that this was going to be one of the more remarkable podcasts I've ever been on. You just helped make it so. What a wondrous discussion. How fabulous. Thank you.
Mm,
Um,
thank
as
you.
I said I work with the three fundamentals of life. Remember, life has purpose, go mad, make a difference. And the third is unlocking the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. So there's two words that you alluded to that I want to share with people as an idea and then give you something that you asked for. The first word is awe, AWE. We use awesome, but awe. And the next word is wow. People say that when they hear something that sort of expands themselves or highlights. So awe stands
Mm,
for ancient wisdom educates. Ancient wisdom educates. So you mentioned Kabbalah. Now, Kabbalah
yeah.
is a remarkable word, by the way. In Hebrew origin, it means received tradition. It is
Hmm.
a gift. That is what Kabbalah is. It is the ability to recognize and receive a gift. So the next word is wow. People say they hear something, wow. Wow stands for words of wisdom, or words of wonder. So I'll give you an example of something I always found fascinating. Chronologically, I'm older than you and probably almost more than most everybody listening to this. I'm 73 chronologically. By the way, it's an important issue in this realm that we're going to be discussing. Uh, Everybody has four ages. Once you get over the age of 25 and you become somewhat cognizant of life, everybody has four ages that you live in the same time. One is your chronological age, your metabolic age, your mental acuity age, and your SOW. So chronologically, I'm 73. Metabolically, I'm 47 because I swim 2 miles a day, 6 days a week. I'm in shape, or as they call it, shape. Can't swim, walk that well, but hey, get me in the water and it's great. Uh, Mental acuity is about 28 because I work with a lot of 28-year-olds and 25s and 22s and 33s and such. And I work with them. And my SOW, you say, what's an SOW? Sense of wonder. I'm an 8-year-old. And the important thing of being an 8-year-old is somewhere between 6 and 9 is when things really are happening in the world. All your pathways in your brain are being rewired and moved, and things are going on. And every day is an adventure, right? You get into double digits already, and that box comes in, and the things happen in school and all that. Okay. But if you can keep your SOW somewhere between 6 and 9, I'm an 8-year-old. Wow. You go, wow, words of wonder, words of wisdom. You walk along the street and you see grass grow up, a little blade of grass through, pieces of concrete. And you say, oh my gosh, look at that. That's exactly what you just said, wonderful Stephan. That blade
Mhm.
of grass is popping up. You said the clouds. I'll call it the concrete. That blade of grass is me. It's ever reaching. It sometimes breaks concrete, right? We've seen that with tree roots and all kinds of things. That's what
Right.
the world can be like. I like your analogy of the clouds, but I'm just saying people feel constrained as if it's concrete. Oh, they have a knot in their tummy and that blade of grass. So I'm going to share with you something from the Kabbalah. Every blade of grass has at least one angel who's in charge of saying to that blade of grass, grow, grow, grow. How many blades of grass are there in the world? More than the Google number, more than any gigabyte, more than the planets, and they're in the billions, maybe trillions. Every blade of grass has an angel that says grow. If that's true for a blade of grass, how much more so for a human being? A human
Yeah.
being. We have angels. You said
There's a
that stuff.
beautiful song that's about how each of us has 100,000 angels. Yeah.
Hello, and they're all there for one reason, for your benefit. Let's go on an idea. Ready?
Hmm.
And
Yep.
I do this in when I'm with people in an audience, and this we have a big audience. So I ask people, everybody here know the word paranoia? Every hand goes up. Oh, everybody know. Of course, I know the word paranoia. I've seen, I've heard. Okay, are people paranoid? Not everybody is, but everybody knows what paranoia is. It's sort of an impending doom. Would you agree? Paranoia.
Yep.
Okay, okay. I say everybody. That's what paranoia is. You all think you know it. You've experienced it. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. How many people know what pronoia is? I've spoken to
I
groups
don't.
it's over 5,200 at a time. Out of the 50, by the way, this particular group, 5,263 people, two hands went up. It was wonderful. And one of them, when I asked, I said, I only raised my hand because I wanted to raise my hand. So didn't know, but the other person, they knew. Pronoia, if paranoia is impending doom, pronoia is the understanding and the knowledge that everything is there for your benefit. Everything is there for your benefit. It's a designer universe. I have experienced it. I believe, going close to knowledge, that every human being experiences it at some point in their life. It may only be a flash when you see lightning light up a sky and it, clear as day, it goes away. And for others, it's a time of breakthrough, inspiration, saying, I saw it, I want to see it again. I want more of it. And they're on a path. Remember, joy stands for journey of you. So I urge people to put aside that word paranoia and replace it in your being with pronoia. Live it, feel it, taste it, experience it, and it will be part and parcel of you. Yes, okay, initially it'll be outside of you until you bring it in. Once you bring it into you and you're living a pronoia life, you'll be singing, you'll be dancing. I urge people to skip. You hear this, Stefan? One of the remedies I urge people to do when I work with people, either one on one or in groups and such, skip. I don't care if it's a block or if you're by yourself, the better it is to skip with somebody holding on the hand of somebody you like or love. And the best is to have one in each hand and skip. It is childlike, and that's great. Stefan, when you were a kid, did you go to a place that they called kindergarten? Okay,
Yes.
they mispronounced it. Don't think kindergarten. Remember, we're going to shift, we're just shifting perspective. It was really called kindergarten because that was the
Mm.
place where 5 year olds who are, wow, always looking, thinking, touching, what's going on, learn to deal with others and learn how to be kinder, how to know not just me, but there's another. It was really the garden of being kinder. Now, the best news is we're still here. You can enter the kinder garden now. Isn't that wonderful? How
Mm.
fabulous.
Yep. I have a 2-year-old, and he's such a blessing, such a gift in my life, and he helps me to stay young and to tap into that childlike wonder and the awe of of God and of this creation of His. So when you have a little one who tells you about angels and where they are in the room, and that's real.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
absolutely real. Like, and then we crush uh, their psychic abilities by denying their realities, saying, "What do you talk? Who are you talking about? There's nobody there." Or stop talking to your imaginary friends. You're going to look like a freak when you go to school. Like that just crushes uh, their ability to receive. And yeah, that was a really bad thing to do. So I'm very careful to only be positive and encouraging when it comes to the accessing the other side of the veil
Absolutely.
of
It is so important. That's why I said part of you, the double N, has to do with nurturing. That's what you're doing. You have a soul that's been brought to you. You're nurturing. It's wonderful. Is it a boy or a girl?
a boy.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Yes. And keep encouraged. There may not be a body there, but there's a reality there. And to encourage that the word, by the way, imagine. I love playing with and using words. So imagine for me, I break it up and I call it I'm a genie. Because that's what you are.
Okay.
You're magical. Everybody listening, again, you, the one who's listening, you're magical. Once you recognize that, then we can really begin to communicate. So I'd like to go into one small realm right now, and I talk about the most important speech that anybody could ever hear. And it's not from Barry Shore, not even from Stephan Spencer, as nice as he is and smart as he is. It's really the most important speech you ever hear is from yourself. Am I correct on that? Self talk.
Oh yeah, and but with the distinction, I think that you're either receiving the self talk from the opponent, from the negative, if that's the frequency you're tuned into,
Right.
or you're receiving it from your angels and Holy Spirit and that. So you're tuned in to a radio station, and that radio station is what's filling your self talk.
Right. So let's share with people what the acronym for self-talk is so that it will be in the frequency that is of benefit to you. Remember, you're now living in pronoia. That's the
Yeah.
radio frequency you're tuning in. So self-talk stands for, and you want to write this down because you want to look at it and examine it and say, really, is that true? Yes, it's true. Self-talk stands for recognizing that you are a soul experiencing life fully, teaching always love and kindness. That's the self-talk you want to have. You're a soul experiencing life fully, teaching always love and kindness. And a great example of this is the airline. So thank God the masquerade is over. We can go back to the airlines again, almost be human. And so, you get on the plane, you're seated, and the person at the front of the plane takes out the that mask and such, the other good mask, and says, if you have a change in cabin pressure, then what's going to happen? Something's going to come down over you. And now here's the key. Let's say you're traveling with your 2-year-old or somebody who's acting like a 2-year-old, and the cabin pressure change. People go, ah, blah, 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 and the thing mask comes down. Counterintuitive, because intuitively, what you would do is you'd put the mask on your 2-year-old or the person acting that way, and then on you. The reason that there's a person in front of the plane explaining something to you is to override your intuitive and counterintuitive and say, put the mask on you first. So you're breathing, and now you put it on the other person. Your best ability to help in the world, yourself and everyone else, is when you are breathing well, when you have calm and awareness in your very being. Now you can be of benefit. So put the mask on you, be breathing first, be in calm and aware. Now you can be of benefit. Now that's the self talk, recognizing you're a soul experiencing life fully. So therefore, as a soul, you're attached to the creator. It can only be pronoia. It's all good. It's all designed. No matter what your other thoughts were, those are those are paranoia thoughts. Pronoia says teaching always love and kindness. You want to put the mask on the breathing apparatus on the other person. You need to be calm and aware first.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. And you said you're a soul experiencing life fully, teaching always love and kindness. So you're not a, a person who has a soul. You are a soul who has a body. That's a very important
Right.
distinction.
And the body, by the way, everybody knows. Everybody. And the body has a certain shelf life, I will call it, right? But you're eternal. I opened up, I said, good morning or good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings. We're immortal. We're an immortal being. You're a soul. Yes, this you'll shed it. You have it now. Utilize it to the best of your ability. Optimize. Get yourself optimized and utilize that which is given to you as a gift. Life. Life stands for living inspirationally for eternity. I like that one, Stephan. Living inspirationally for eternity. When you recognize it and do that, when Stephan looks at his 2-year-old, he can see himself. He can know that in some point of time, let's call it 50 years or 70 years, this being called Stephan, dad, may not be physically here, but Stephan, dad, will always be part of him. And the legacy continues from your son and continues and continues. We're immortal. What a way to live, to approach life, to see. Remember, you're good looking because you're always looking for and finding the good.
Yeah. Beautiful. Now I know we're about out of time here. If you could share your thoughts on something I learned from reading a book called The Game of Life and How to Play It. It's a hundred and some, yeah, about 100-year-old book. And this concept of fear being inverse faith. In other words, faith in the worst outcome rather than the best outcome. And this, I think, ties in pretty darn well with pronoia. So, curious to hear your thoughts on that statement. Fear is inverse faith.
It resonates well with me. We most of us know the famous acronym for fear. And there are many of them. The one I utilize the most when I'm sharing with other people: false expectations appearing real.
Yeah, or false evidence
Right.
appearing real is
Yeah.
what I heard. I also
And, but
heard
again,
F everything and
right.
run.
But and or face everything and respond. The
Right.
good news is that we can utilize the concept and create the benefit. And that's really what, let's go to the martial arts. One of the greatest ones I've been able to practice, Tai Chi or
Mm,
Jujitsu. And you're using energy of the opponent against them. And the greatest opponent you have is that voice or voices in you that use the N word. The N word is no, N-O. So what I do with the word no, and I teach, it's in my book, The Joy of Living, How to Slay Stress and Be Happy, 11 Strategies, is talk about the N word, no. So whenever you hear the N word, no, N-O, surround it with a K and a W. Oh, that's a different, same sound, no. But the K and W stand for kindness and wisdom. Every time you hear a N-O, surround it with kindness and wisdom and say, that's great. So in the remaining moments, if
mm.
I may, I'd like to give a hug to you and to all the people listening and a blessing. Do we have time for that?
Uh, can we do it in a
Yes,
minute?
we can do it in less than a minute. Hug stands for
All right, awesome.
heartfelt, unlimited giving. Ready? One, two, three. And our blessing is go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad, go make a difference.
Awesome. Well, thank you. You're making a difference, and what a blessing you are to all of us, Barry. And you, listener, are also a blessing. So please go out there and live a joyful life and spread that joy with others. We'll catch you on the next episode. Oh, and Barry, what is your website?
www.barryshore.com, BARRYSHORE, barryshore.com. There's some free, valuable resources there. Use them.
Awesome. Thank you, Barry. Thank you,
Thank you,
listener. We'll
Stefan.
catch you on the next episode.